Hey, my name is Anisha Patel, and I'm obsessed with all things career development. Whether that's navigating your professional journey, gaining clarity, or building the confidence to reach your goals, I'm here to support you in crafting your roadmap to success. I've grown a podcast that has reached thousands of people across the globe. I'm growing an online business, and I'm stepping outside of my 9-to-5 to build a career of my dreams. I've walked the path of transformation myself, and now I'm here to share insights, strategies, and stories to help you carve out a career that you love, or even a podcast you've been dreaming of creating, but you've not taken the leap to start yet. If you want to connect with me in between podcast episodes, I share my personal career insights and behind-the-scenes stories with my newsletter community, which you can join using the link in the show notes. This is the Pharmacist Diaries podcast. Well, hello and welcome back to Pharmacist Diaries, Jamie.
Oh, so happy to be here with you, Anisha.
Were you jamming in the background to my music?
Oh, you know it. You have great intro music. I was trying to place all of the CD album covers that you have on your wall. I'm like, do I know all of them?
Oh, that's so funny. So how are you doing?
Anisha, I am loving life. It just gets better and better and better. It's particularly good right now.
That's great. I want to dive into today's episode because I don't think we need to do a big old intro. I just want to learn what's been happening in your life. Where are you up to at the moment? And it's so funny that we're having this conversation when we're on really similar paths in terms of career, lifestyle career, family life. So yeah, just give us an update. The last time we did our podcast episode was March of 2024. So a year and a bit ago. So where are we at since then?
Yeah, so a lot has happened since then. Time flies when you're having fun, but probably around that month of March 2024 is when I sold one of my online companies, my PGX consulting program, sold it completely to the partners I'd initially brought in. And I, since then, for the past 18 months, have been enjoying a mix of like a professional sabbatical and just taking a break from hustling, like doing so much with a full calendar, to taking a lot of trips, enjoying time with my family, a lot of downtime, and just exploring what I'm building next, because there's so many different things I want to build and problems I want to solve that just taking the time to fill out which is the most important that I like really want to sink my teeth into for years has just been fun. Because I don't know about you, but I've never really had a chance to like evaluate where I'm going in my career and make intentional steps all this time, from like graduating to getting that first pharmacist job to starting a company. It was always just like, okay, just go. Just if the next thing makes you more money than you're making now with an okay schedule, like it's the right thing. Go full steam ahead. And I'm realizing, excuse me, work goes really fast. And if we're not intentional about the careers we build, we're just swept up working for someone, maybe not doing work we love for years or decades. And I don't know, life's too precious and too valuable to just keep doing a job just because we have been.
I'm with you. I'm so with you. As my business BFF, as we call each other, I'm with you. And I feel like personally, having moved homes, and moving to the countryside and shifting into a very teeny tiny cottage and kind of building this cute little life in the middle of nowhere, except all you can see is countryside, sheep, tractors. Like my traffic on a day-to-day school run is tractors and bulldozers, and yeah, it's so different, but it feels amazing. Like I am a hustler. Like I love the hustle culture. In fact, I have convinced myself that I thrive best when I am the busiest version of myself. And going back a few years when I was commuting 3 hours a day, I was working the whole time that I was on the train on Pharmacist Diaries, like utilizing my time. I was either walking or running to the train station, which is about 3 miles or 5 kilometers away from where I live. And I would walk that at like 5 a.m., podcast on, like educating myself, but commuting at the same time. I would get on the train, work on my podcast the whole like 45 minutes of the first train, plus figuring things out in between, like on my phone on the next train. I would work a full 8-hour shift, like doing pediatric palliative care, rush home and be a parent. Part of that I was pregnant, part of that I was a sleep deprived mother. I was doing an additional degree. Like we have a prescribing qualification now that we can do to become prescribers once we're pharmacists. So I was doing that. And the podcast has been really successful. Like becoming an entrepreneur has been successful with the amount of time that I've been able to give it. And I've been hustling this whole time, and I've been enjoying it, and I've been thriving, learning so much about myself. But this one shift, this one move, this one change of location has completely turned me around. I'm not really that interested in getting on LinkedIn. I'm not really that interested in writing a million and one emails to my wonderful email community. I have been keeping the podcast going because I made a commitment to do this series. I've made a commitment to Pharmacist Diaries. I love this podcast and I want it to keep going, but I'm doing it on my own terms. It's, usually every other week, which I can commit to. I love doing it live because I can just freestyle and just enjoy a conversation. It's not super planned, and it's completely unscripted. Like today's conversation is just us enjoying, catching up after such a long time, but it's live and everyone gets to hear it and ask questions if they want to. It's great. But I'm realizing how much I have focused on the need to be really successful as a pharmacist or a podcaster or an entrepreneur or a businesswoman, when actually I am just loving just living in the present moment, planning family holidays. Like, we're going to Thailand for a whole month as a family of 4, and planning for that is just like I'm in my element of loving, like looking things up and being, some of it will be spontaneous, some of it we're having plans, like we're going to go to elephant sanctuaries and do a lot of snorkeling and live the beach life for a whole month. And that's what lights me up, like adventure and spontaneity and being off my phone and truly connecting with the people that I love is what is bringing me so much joy. And it's just funny that you're going through a really similar situation right now.
It's a good place to be. I don't know why people don't talk more about how better careers get over time. Like, it's like you have to have, I don't know if it's required, but we both did like that decade of just hustle and work to get financial footing, to get like all these family pieces in place, picking who we're going to marry, starting to have kids, like buying the house, getting all of these pieces set, and just working the job that we thought we would work when we got out of school kind of puts you on autopilot. For me, it was for a decade. For like a decade, like that pharmacy job met my needs. It provided great income. I liked being a professional 2 days a week and then being a mom the rest. But it's like at some point, for me, it's probably just hitting my 30s and looking up and coming up for air and saying, like, wait, this has been good, but is it really what I want to do forever? I think it comes to like the Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And like once you get the basic things under your belt, you start looking around to say, wait, is all the things I thought really important? Is having that flashy car and these signals of success with like the biggest house and like the title that makes everyone go, ooh, you do that at parties. Is that really what we want? Or do we want just more time with our family and peace of mind and being unreachable for as much as we want on the nights and weekends? Like, we get to choose what success is, and it's so fun to create a life that matters to you and that you're doing things that actually matter. You're doing it. You get to go to Thailand for a month. What a dream.
I know, and something like really resonated with me in what you said. You said that, you is this what you want to do forever? And we have been sort of brainwashed by society to believe that you pick that path, you pick that job, and you should be loyal to that company and you work there for a really, really long time. And I think in pharmacy, like that has definitely been the case for a lot of people. But what I'm enjoying at the moment, especially being really multi passionate, similar to you, and you like doing different things, you like, I think, also the shorter term projects as
Mm-hmm.
well, like doing something for, 9 to 12 months and then being like, boom, done, I'm done with that, like moving on. And just enjoying the different sort of like seasons of where
Mm-hmm.
you're at and tuning in to what you need in the moment. And right now, I'm feeling I'm tuning into enjoying looking after myself, by the way. I've been going to the gym 3 to 4 times a week. I've been eating super nutritious food. I am journaling every day. I'm doing my meditation every day. And a lot of the time that I didn't spend doing these things would be working on Pharmacist Diaries, which I
Yeah.
love. But I'm just so happy looking after me and focusing on what makes me happy and not really what makes thousands of other people online happy, which
Mm-hmm.
I want to be able to support my community, but I've been doing it for 5 years hardcore, and something just triggered me to just make that change. And now I've realized, whoa, I'm in it and I'm enjoying it. Like, don't feel guilty. Don't feel bad for the way that you want to step away and take a little bit of time out. Enjoy that moment and just embrace it.
Exactly. Totally agree. It's a fun time to be with your own company. I am my own best company. I am very much a people person and I love being with people, but I also equally love just like my own company and silence and just doing my own thing. It's so energizing. And so, like you, it's been nice to treasure what matters most. So, finally, I've been waiting for this day for so long. All my boys are in school all day long. No kindergartners, no preschoolers, no little guys at home. And at points in the day, I'll just walk around the house and I'm like, it's silent and I'm here and I'm working and I get to enjoy it. Because
Yeah.
before, when I was working, I'm in the pharmacy. I'm gone. And so like this magical time where I can just have the house to myself would go completely wasted because I would also be gone too. So it's little things like that to build a career of these little things that seem little but really matter and just light us up and help us to do the work that we really like to do. It just it's a good time to be alive.
No, and I love that. And I think this series that I requested to do with you has also been like a little bit of a calling for myself, because interviewing pharmacists around their own career journeys, the non traditional side of what they're doing, has given me insight into, well, that's a good job. Ooh, I could do that.
Hmm.
Give me a piece of that. And it's really giving me a lot of like, you know, time to reflect on some of the skills that they talk about, some of the experiences that they've had, some of the kind of transition moments that they've been through, and how I can now apply that to my life. And it's just been really useful to meet inspiring people outside of the traditional world of pharmacy. And I've been now like actively looking to work in the health tech space. I've been actively looking for roles that might allow me to do a contract job, maybe for 6 months, to try out whether or not A, I like the company. Do I vibe with them? Do I like their values? Am I enjoying working with them? Can we just try this out like freelance? And then if I love it, cool, I'll take on a position. But right now, I love the flexibility of knowing that I could take on a project or contract work or freelance, whatever you want to call it, because then at the end of that, I'm like, boom, I'm going to Thailand, or boom, I'm going to Africa, and I can spend that time with my kids and then come back and do the next thing. And I think that is so freeing. That feels like pure joy to me, because I really like the idea of working on short term projects, doing an amazing job of them, getting them completed, and then having some free time to then think about, oh, what am I going to do next? And I know you feel the same way.
I do. And that's exactly what I'm doing for work right now. I love it. I'm not in health tech, but I'm in ed tech, being a product manager. And it's a part time position that is perfect. I pick my hours every week. I go into the office in downtown Salt Lake once a week. I pick when I go in and for how long I go in and what hours every day I work. And that freedom just feels so good after having been like, you have to be at the pharmacy from here to here. And if you're not there, everything shuts down. It just feels so freeing to have choice and autonomy. And I know, like, for all other professionals, they're like, that's just normal work. But for us in healthcare, like, it feels revolutionary. But also, what I'm coming to see, and what I was talking with my husband with a lot, I think just last night, was how siloed healthcare is, like within pharmacy, with really everything in medicine. We're taught to do one job and we only get exposure to that one job. We don't like make these lateral moves or get to work on these interesting projects or like get exposed to other things we can do. We are like a pharmacist forever. You don't get to just start to merge in like all other professionals like accountants and lawyers. They can do anything under the gamut, and it's not all siloed and locked off with like residencies and fellowships and board certifications. It's like, yeah, just get a little experience and like come on in. The water's warm, come join us. Whereas in healthcare, it just feels like everything's under lock and key, and it's so hard to see what's out there and to get your toes wet. And so as soon as I had this chance for a remote position where I could learn more about product management, which I already loved, that's like a short-term contract, like you said, like 9 months, give it a try, do my best, have a lot of fun, learn as I go. Like, this is the way to work, Anisha. It's freeing, it's fun, and I think it makes us more diverse and valuable as a result because we can learn real world skills and stay on top of what's going on rather than just clocking in and clocking out to a very automated robotic job.
No, I completely agree. And I think what would be really valuable to share with this audience is that if you're in a traditional role, just think about what you do on a day to day basis where there is variety. Because when I worked as a junior pharmacist in a hospital, we were allocated specific, ward or clinical areas where we would have whatever 30 to 50 patients that we would see every single day. Of course, the patients change every day. You get the variety because there's different people, different conditions, different drugs. Like, you get variety. You speak to different healthcare professionals, but your day to day routine is exactly the same. So that exposure to like working on something that lasts a longer duration in time, like, bigger projects or opportunities where you can just say, oh, I'm interested in that, let me jump in, are few and far between. And it was only when I left the UK, when I went to Abu Dhabi and I got that completely wild job in emergency services and was like running a pharmacy, importing drugs from all over the world, working for the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, that I realized that there was so much more that I had to offer in terms of my skill set outside of being a hospital pharmacist. The problem that I had at that time was I was truly brainwashed that I needed to go back to a clinical life because as a pharmacist, I should be patient facing. I should be in a clinical setting. I was obsessed with trying to get an inpatient pharmacy job at Cleveland Clinic, and I didn't understand why I couldn't be awarded that position because I didn't have my I had a residency from the UK. I didn't have the PharmD. They wanted to have a PharmD instead of the MPharm. Like, that was a minimum requirement. They wanted to have a US only residency. They wanted you to be board certified. So I started studying for my board certification, even though I have a residency and everything else already under my belt. But because I had this feeling that I needed to fit into society. And I was truly brainwashed to believe that that was what I was supposed to be doing. Having moved back to the UK, finding the podcast, doing things differently, and just like reflecting on my journey and how grateful I was to live abroad and seeing students' faces light up when they hear my story, that was when I realized that I had something special. It wasn't because I knew it already. It was because when I told my story, people looked at me like I was, like out of the ordinary. Like, this is magic. How did you make that happen? How can I do it? What did you do to get there? And they were so intrigued. That's when I realized. And years went by where I felt like I wasn't good enough. So many years went by. And now I'm just enjoying all of the other things that I've been working on, especially with social media and email marketing and email funnels, and enjoying connecting with new people online that I would never meet in person, flying out to Germany and doing amazing video content creation and speaking on stages. And I have a mastermind group at the moment. Have joined me for a mastermind to learn about becoming an entrepreneur and building a brand and doing it together as a group. Like, this is wild. I don't have qualifications to do a mastermind, but I am doing it because I have experience and knowledge that I can share, and people trust that my guidance will truly support them on that journey. And it's working. Like, we're really enjoying it and enjoying that experience. So it's great that you're sharing that information, and that we're obviously kind of following a similar kind of pathway or process at this very moment in time. I'd love to hear more about the actual job that you're doing, and how did you come to that conclusion that that was the right fit for you in terms of your skill set and the company as well?
So I did not know a year ago today, I did not know what product management was. I didn't even know what products were. I just knew I liked building my own businesses and had a lot of fun creating online education and digital courses. And after doing that for 5 years, felt like I can keep paying like all these coaches to a stupid amount of money to like help with my business. But after working solo 5 years, I wanted to be part of a team and to learn like how to help the world with our solutions. Like, how do you actually make a better impact? And like, how does this work from like a more enterprise point of view? Because I know I'm good at like doing my thing and creating something that didn't exist. But I also know, like, when you're just working for yourself, it can be lonely, and it can be harder to like stick to deadlines and stuff when you're like, well, it's just me. Not feeling it. We'll put it off next month. So I wanted to push myself and to grow and get uncomfortable, because I was getting really comfortable just doing what I had been doing, and wanted to be pushed and challenged, and to like have my first real job. I had not had a real job before, Anisha. I've only like worked in a pharmacy, and there you don't really have a boss, you don't have a team, you don't have projects. Like, it's just like factory line work where you're keeping the lights on, keeping everything flowing. It's totally different than like professional project based work. And so anyway, um it was Lauren Curtis that got me interested in it, because I know you talked to her recently. She's fabulous. And I've joined her group about like product management and getting into product and health tech, because she really like lit my fire in that. I was like, I want to learn more. And there is a lot of health tech here in Utah on the Silicon Slopes. But since what I had been doing for the past 5 years was like primarily education, I feel more comfortable in ed tech, because that's what I've been doing. Like, I've never even been as cool as you, Anisha, with like clinical work. I've just been a retail pharmacist. Like, my clinical skills are garbage. And so making the leap right into health tech even felt intimidating for me. I wanted a buffer to get into ed tech. And so I was just looking on LinkedIn, really not taking it that seriously. But in Lauren's, I bought her like resume class. What is it called? The resume. I can't even think of what it is right now. But anyway, it was awesome.
I'll put it in the show notes. I'll find it.
Yeah, I'll send you the link. Put it in the notes. It was like the best. I don't think it was even $200. Like, just to help understand like what a resume is and how it works, because I had never even had a resume. I've just like created my own work up until then, or just got a job because I was a pharmacist in Utah. And so once I worked with her and like actually got my first real resume, that LinkedIn algorithm is good. And after, applying to, I don't know, a dozen positions, this one came up and it really caught my eye because it was part-time and largely remote. And so I was like, you know what? I'm just going to throw my hat in the ring because I don't want to work full-time and am not interested in like suddenly going from part-time to full-time. I really like my part-time life. And so seeing those part-time and remote and something that really mattered to me because it's for religious organizations. So I'm a product manager for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And so it's the product I'm working on is helping to teach missionaries how to share the gospel of Jesus Christ out to the world and like giving them the training and all the preparation they need. And so this like matters to me more than almost anything because it's a cause I believe strongly in that's very important to me and it's going to stretch me because it's something that's really important to me. And so anyway, I saw that, I applied, had a few interviews. The first one was just a one-way interview where they gave me the questions and you like record it as there's a little countdown and you have like 4 minutes to record and you can re-record as much as you want. So it was really an awesome like one-way interview just to practice saying your things out loud before you sit before a group of strangers. And that was great. Then had a couple in-person interviews, loved it, and got offered the position. I've been doing that ever since. And it's been so fun, Anisha.
I'm so happy for you. Tell me, when it came to the interview, what type of questions come up and how did you sell the transferable skill of being a pharmacist into that role?
They were a lot of like product specific questions which were intimidating to me because as a little summary of what product managers do is you're creating products. Usually it's like apps or online websites or education that users find incredibly helpful, useful. They find it easy to come back to, that like their user experience is really great. And so I got a lot of questions that felt really intimidating to me that were like hypothetical, like, well, if this user is facing these bugs or this problem, how would you solve it? Like, oh my gosh, I don't know. But here's a problem that I had that I faced with my own company because I kind of have been doing my own product management. So here's something similar that happened to me, and here's how I would solve it. Very open to learn from you, but this is how I would go about it. So I think bridging, and for everyone, bridging like what you know and how you've solved problems um, is what they want to hear, because you are a really big liability when a company is thinking about hiring you, because they're going to put so much investment into your training and to trusting you that you'll take care of their customers well. And if you don't do a good job, like it's a huge cost and expense and hassle for them. So they're really stressed that you're not going to do a great job. And so it feels like a big liability. So one of the best things you can do in interviewing is to, first of all, be friendly and personable, to be a person that they actually want to work with and not a robot who's trying to give all the right answers. And then just like candidly share how you think about problem solving and like talk through how you'd reason out the solution. I think that was the thing that really helps to not exactly have the right answer, but to like show you're a person who knows that industry and knows the problem they face and that you can solve problems and think through it and are being open to learn. Because I think you can really learn most jobs like on the job. And so showing that you know how to think and have initiative, but you're open to learning, that mix, I don't know, at least it worked for me. And they were genuinely fun. I thought interviewing was fun, and it was great both ways to just have a discussion and talk about work that's fun.
Yeah, and they want to know your personality and who you are, and they want to know where you've come from, and it's okay not to have all of the answers. And I think that's really hard for us as pharmacists because we're quite,
Oh yeah.
type A perfectionists, and it is really hard to do a pharmacist interview. I mean, when I applied for Cleveland Clinic in Abu Dhabi, I had 9 people on the panel. It was just insane. Like 9 people staring at me in a boardroom, just firing an hour's worth of questions. And a lot of those questions were very clinical. And so you have to be really on your game when it comes to clinical content. And if you are a hospital pharmacist, usually those are probably the easier questions, and it showcases your skill set quite easily. When I came back to the UK and I was trying to convince an employer to hire me for education and training alongside pediatrics, that's when I had to sit down and truly look back at my experiences and help them to understand that they're not exactly the same, but the concept or the skill set, the knowledge, and the experience is completely transferable into another area of expertise. So in Abu Dhabi, I created a teaching program for paramedics because A, we didn't have one, and we were hiring paramedics literally every month. There would be 100 new paramedics being hired within the company. We were expanding at this exponential rate, and I was the only pharmacist. There was no team, it was just me. So all these new paramedics would be coming from all over the world, from America, England, Ireland, New Zealand, Australia, Syria, Palestine, you name it. There was someone coming from a different country. And they all had different expectations about what drugs they had access to, what doses they could use. They needed to understand like supply chain, like how do they get more supply, how do they manage expiry dates, how do they manage control drugs, because the rules are completely different. And I realized that I was out of my depth because so many people were coming through the door. I couldn't do a one-to-one like hour session. So I created a training program, and I had to wing it. I had to create, a program that I trialed out with the education team, but then I implemented that into the role, and I did it so much that I realized that that was a transferable skill in itself when going back to pharmacy and saying, actually, now I want to train junior pharmacists or trainee or intern pharmacists who are coming out of pharmacy school, and I want this role that allows me to teach them and educate them because of the experience I had. And even with pediatrics, I had experience from 6, 7, 8 years prior to applying for that specific job. And the questions were really hard. They were asking so many specific questions about the differences between adults and pediatrics and asking me to really dive into the pharmacokinetics and pharmacodynamics all the way from neonates up to an 18-year-old. And it was really tough. Like, it's not my area of expertise, but I showcased my ability to learn, my enthusiasm, my love for learning, my extreme joy for pharmacy and what I had experienced abroad and how I want to utilize some of that skill set at home. And I got the job. So I can see where you're coming from, that you have to just put yourself out of that comfort zone and say to yourself that, what's the worst that can happen? They say no, first of all, who cares? It's cool, it's just a job. But also, you'd be surprised at how valuable your current skill set is. It's just about how to actually sell that with unexpected questions in front of you.
And I think being able to tell the story of your career and the arc of why all of that you have been doing has been setting you up for this next role. You have to tell the story, and especially not in non-traditional careers, which are my specialty. Like, once you get out of pharmacy, speaking any pharmacy language is just going to shut people down because they don't understand it. So being able to know your story yourself and be able to tell it calmly, confidently, and with assurance, like, that is the thing that opens doors that we were just never taught to do in pharmacy school and in work. Up till now, it feels so foreign. But if we're not confident in why we're the ideal candidate right now and why our whole backstory has been teeing us up to this moment, the hiring manager is sure not going to see it in us either.
Yeah, absolutely. I just want to speak to the audience to say that if they have questions or they have anything to ask you, to make sure they fire those questions into the chat so that I can ask away. Nothing's come through yet, guys. Where are you? Where are your questions? Maybe mine are just too good. Or they're just enjoying the conversation. But I I'm so happy to hear that you're enjoying the work that you're doing and you're exploring something new. I do want to take you back a step when it comes to your newsletter and interviewing lots of pharmacists who have left traditional roles. And part of that journey was also building this entire kind of what are you calling it actually? The like your it's not a portfolio of kind of different careers. It's like a directory.
Yeah.
A
A
directory.
directory of almost 200 non-traditional careers that PharmDs and M Farms are absolutely perfect for, that we just never know about. We never knew were ideal for us.
And it's a free resource, which is amazing. And
Yes.
I will also add the link to that newsletter with the link of the actual product in the show notes. But when I clicked on it, having spoken to multiple people who've left non-traditional roles, I mean, I was looking at things in health tech. Product manager roles are really kind of like sticking out to me as something that I think I could do. And having spoken to Lauren, it's even become more valuable because she's learned more about my journey and she's like, yeah, you need to apply. And
Yep.
which has been really fun. But even the medical comms, like, you know, AI specialists, like data scientists, I'm interviewing so many people in this realm. But to see that list just blew me away because not only have you shown obviously the salaries and kind of career progression, you've looked at the actual skill set that you need and the types of skills that you would actually use on a day-to-day basis so people can kind of filter what they think would be really, really valuable to them. But looking at that list is just inspiring because it's it just helps me to believe so much more that a pharmacy degree truly is a launch pad into everything else that this world has to offer. And we haven't necessarily really like understood that. But when you visualize it in a directory, you're like, boy, was I mistaken that I thought this was it? Like getting the Form D, this was it. No, 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 no. It is literally the beginning of everything else that's to come. And I love that for us. Like, I'm so happy that we are shouting loud and proud about this because the younger generation need to hear it and they need to hear it 100,000 times right now.
I totally agree. And what I learned after interviewing dozens and dozens of people who made the switch into all of these non-traditional careers is that it's just something they did themselves. They either had an interest in the field or someone in their network said, "Hey, this is cool, check it out." There is no formal path for all of these. Some of the more popular roles, like becoming an MSL, have some really great coaching that gives you a pretty good on ramp, but most of it is like, just figure it out yourself, which pharmacists hate. We are very much checklist people. We like solid checklists and that this will get me here and that I will get this salary and that like I don't have to worry about my career after that. But for those of us crazy misfit PharmDs who really want something different and work that it builds the lifestyle we want, there is a lot of ambiguity and unknown and figuring it out yourself. Just like you're going through, just like I've gone through a few times with different roles. You just got to figure out like what's right for you and feel it out with some trial and error, and you're going to fail along the way and it's going to be really uncomfortable. But by just thinking out of the box and start taking regular baby steps toward there, you don't realize it, but over time you're separating yourself out from the mass of pharmacists who are just going to do their job until the day they die. You really become different, you act different, and you think different. That change does generally take time, and the more out of traditional pharmacy your roles get, the longer it takes. So take courage. Big changes, especially in careers, don't instantly happen overnight, but are so, 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 so worth it, from all of the different benefits you get, from higher salaries to better work-life balance, flexibility, fun, and you just get to learn more and create in a way that traditional pharmacy doesn't allow us to do. So it is fun. It is not a clear path that pharmacy is, but that's what makes it even better for those of us who dare try, right?
Yeah, no, I'm so with you. Do you see this? Great chat, ladies. Loving that.
Yay!
Thank you, Amber. Amber is always watching these YouTube lives, and I love that
Thank
because,
you, Amber.
yeah,
Someone's
she's always interested in educating herself to to think outside the box because
And
she's on her mission, her own mission.
And we all are, like you, and she's probably going through it too. I was, where you're just in an information stage where you're just soaking up as much as you can. It feels so good, and you just need to be hungry to learn about everything.
Yeah, no, I love that. And we have a question. So, in terms of earning and career growth, how do you compare being a project manager to following the traditional pharmacy route? So, you've answered this in some of the context, but maybe you can give a quick and easy answer for this one.
So, just to clarify, it's product manager. I know it doesn't seem different, but product managers have a better earning trajectory overall. So product managers and pharmacists probably earn, at least entry level, earn about the same, like low 100,000. But as you grow in product management and become like a senior product manager or a director of product management, your earnings, especially if you're in health tech, blow pharmacists out of the water. You're earning 200, 225, 250K plus. Then you can start getting into like VP and C-suite roles. But generally in tech and outside of healthcare, earning potential goes so much higher. Pharmacy starts off high, and then you just stay there for the rest of your career. So you may take an initial pay cut to get into product management. You may be murking a little lower than a pharmacist earns, but very quickly it eclipses it. And if you take into account that like these roles are largely remote and have a lot of flexibility, like once you work it, you're like, oh, that money, those dollars per hour don't even matter because I'm so much happier. So I don't know if you felt that way, Anisha, that like we think we need this certain dollar amount, and then you experience work that's like joyful and happy and like you love doing, and suddenly the dollars become fuzzier and it doesn't matter, which is kind of magical because these roles also have you earning way more ultimately than a pharmacist. So like we don't want to try because we like our golden handcuffs, but then by trying and working in these, especially with our clinical skills in the background, like we're not losing out. We still are earning more ultimately over time.
Yes, no, I completely agree. And I'm in transitional phase at the moment. I am literally working as what we call a locum pharmacist in a hospital role. And I'm enjoying it. I'm doing pediatrics. My day to day is fun. I'm seeing tiny neonates every day, and I'm living my best life with all these kind of new moms and doing all the pharmaceutical care that I enjoy doing. But in the background, I am embracing the idea of looking at other roles, looking into other projects. How can I get contract work? How can I network through LinkedIn and all of those good things? And that takes time. And I know that I'm potentially going to have to take a little bit of a step back when it comes to income, but I know that it will build with time. And I have my own business on the side, which is growing, and I'm loving that journey, and I'm enjoying it so much that I wouldn't want to be anywhere else. And so I completely agree with you that the money means nothing when you're not really enjoying the job, and when you find something that you're truly passionate about. Like for me, podcasting is my jam. Like this podcast is not earning like millions of pounds, it's really about the community and building the network and building that kind of personal brand, and everything else that I do alongside it is kind of what's bringing me so much joy. And I've learned so much about myself on that journey, and that's kind of where people need to step outside of their comfort zone to learn more about who they are and what they love, because sometimes you expect that doing the pharmacy job is what you're meant to enjoy, and you realize when you're in it that it's not, and that's okay. It's okay to then step out and figure it out in another way.
And pharmacy is so good for that because there's PRN work, part-time work, locum work. Like we have such a good safety net as we make the transition that like we have nothing to lose and everything to gain. So like that PharmD, MPharm degree is so valuable. We just have to see it through the lens of what it can do for us long-term and short-term. As we're going through the awkward middle to figure it out, we have work that can bridge these gaps and keep our families fed and the lights on as we make transitions. It's just Such a good time to be a PharmD, especially those interested in non-traditional roles.
And I love that. And I'm going to end on that just because that was a really positive note to end on. I don't have any other questions, but I will share the newsletter, obviously. I will share the directory. I also will reshare Lauren Curtis's episode because that is all about product management. It was such a great
She's fabulous.
episode. Yeah, and she gave away so much valuable information. But thank you so much. I'm so glad that we had the opportunity to catch up and just, just kick it.
I know. We're catching up anyway.
Yeah.
It's nice to let some friends in on our conversation.
Agreed. And I will chat to you soon.
That's good. See ya.